Merry Christmas, everyone! Santa Claus brought me all these gifts, mainly from Intel, and we'll make a PC to see how good or bad it actually is. I'm so excited to see if it can run the latest and greatest games. Now, let's start building this thing. We will start the same way as every PC build starts, with the motherboard. Here we have the MSI Pro B760MA Wi-Fi. We chose this as it was one of the cheapest motherboards with Wi-Fi that we could find, with an LGA 1700 socket. And for the CPU, we have here the i3 12100F with 4 cores and a 4.3 GHz maximum clock speed. Now let's put the CPU in. Now that's done. For RAM we have 16 GB of RGB Kingston Fury Beast DDR5 at 5200 MHz. Quite decent for this build. Now let's pop in the storage. Here we have an NVMe SSD with 512 GB. For the case, here we have the MB Cooler Master 320L. And, as you can see, it has RGB, and you know what that means? Games! It has this nice tempered glass and plenty of airflow. Overheating? Begun. Let's put our motherboard in. Now that it all fits snugly inside, we have to power this thing one way or another. Here is the Corsair VC550 power supply unit. Ta-da! Now what everyone's looking forward to, the Intel Arc A380 OC Challenger from ASRock. This little card is overclocked and has 6 GB of VRAM. Ladies and gentlemen, I present you the least and hopefully not the last, underpowered, barely entry level, driver optimization lacking Intel PC build. Now let's plug everything in, including the monitor, the keyboard and the mouse, and see if it actually works. Now let's see if it works. 3, 2, 1. Okay, it lights, okay. It's working! Woo! Now this computer comes with plenty of RGB to let everyone know how cool you are, and also that your rank in League of Legends is at least diamond. And that you touched grass only once in the last week. Jealous? Mm-hmm. Now, let me move a little bit because I'm in a not so natural position. So, just one moment. Perfect. Now it's better. Now you might think that before we're just roasting this thing, but some affirmations as seen on the internet might actually be true. The GPU on this is extremely underpowered. And just for a few more bucks, you could have upgraded to a GTX 1650, which would perform way better. In case you guys didn't know, at launch, people were very frustrated with the badly optimized drivers for this line of GPUs. But it's been more than a year since then, and we'll play some games, do some benchmarks, and see how it actually works. First, we'll start with the benchmarks on 3D Mark. Things weren't going so well with the Speedway test, so we barely hit like 10 FPS. And we have got a score of 643. For the Time Spy Extreme, we have got about 2100, which is still quite bad. When we have first selected this configuration, we thought that maybe the CPU might bottleneck the GPU. But that was definitely not the case. The CPU did quite well in most of our tests, considering it's a 12th gen CPU. On Geekbench, we have scored 1892 on a single core test. And for the multi-core, we have scored 6297, which is acceptable. Whilst for the OpenCL, we have scored 38,296. Mind you, in order for this GPU to work at its full capacity, you have to enable resizable bar from the BIOS. Now, for the games, we have tested 4 different games at a 1080p resolution with 2 different graphic presets. I would not advise anyone to go higher than 1080p as the performance was at best average on those tests. We will be starting with Control. At the high preset, we have got an average of 65 FPS with a 1% low of 28 FPS. Quite decent. For the low preset, we have got an average of 81 FPS with a 1% low of 50. Even more decent. The second game we have went through is Cyberpunk, where we didn't even dare to touch any of the higher presets. So for the media and graphics preset, we've got an average of 41 FPS with a 1% low of 29 FPS. It was fine, I guess. Considering how graphically intensive is this game, I think it's fine. Now at the low graphics preset, we have got an average of 70 FPS with a 1% low of 52 FPS. More than playable in my opinion. Also, we have to mention that the XeSS, the super sampling technology from Intel, really helped a lot in this case, and it was enabled for both of the Cyberpunk tests. We have also went through Red Dead Redemption 2 and the results are shown on the screen. And there are the results for the Shadow of the Tomb Raider. As you can see, we have got some interesting results, dare I say. I think this machine is barely the entry level for 1080p gaming at this price. If you want to play more laid-back adventure games at 1080p on low presets, I think you can have a half-decent experience. For more competitive games, I can't really recommend it. Although I suspect that Counter-Strike runs perfectly since it is more of a CPU-intensive game. For productivity, this PC is absolutely fine, unless you're planning on using large AI models or working with big data. Would I recommend this as an overall system? Well, yes and no. I would recommend it because for a system with completely new parts, for its price, it's fine. And if you only intend to do a little bit of Photoshop, answering emails and using Microsoft Office, you're okay. But for any other thing, I cannot recommend it. Especially if you go on the used parts path, you can find like really nice stuff. As mentioned, the GPU is lacking quite a lot, and if you add just a few bucks, you can get something which is almost twice as powerful as the ARC A380. So make of this video as you wish. Merry Christmas, everyone! Don't forget to like, subscribe, smash the notification bell and leave a comment down below to tell us what you think about this PC. And also, our latest 2 videos are right here. Bye!